Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Now I was going through my stash in preparation for this video, and I was going through my background stamps that unfortunately don't get a lot of love. So today's video really focuses in on a couple of background, I'll say products, because I also use an embossing folder, which doesn't necessarily only get used for backgrounds, but for me that's typically how I use them. So we're doing a focus on background stamps. So this first one is called Roarsome. To me, it looks like ostrich skin. So when I pulled out my little ostrich stamp, I thought this is absolutely perfect. So it was meant to look like alligator skin or reptiles or dinosaurs, things like that. And it does. So they're similar. But to me, it just fits this ostrich. So there it is. I've stamped it out in my Misty using some Versamark ink. And then I've got some embossing powder. Well, it's embossing glaze, vintage photo. And I hit it with my heat tool until it's all melty. And then you get that tone on tone look. And so that's what I'm going for. With all these backgrounds, I'm going for tone on tone. Now, this is my ostrich stamp. It is called the Stretchy Ostrich. However, it's no longer available in the red rubber, but it is still available in digital. And I will have that link downstairs in the description box so you can hop over and get that if you're interested. It is an absolutely adorable image, and I love it. And I love that she's holding that sweet little martini, and it's very subtle. You almost don't even notice the martini until suddenly you go, oh, she's holding a drink. And I think it's adorable. So anyway, we'll set her aside for a moment. Continuing on this background. So I've got the ostrich, I'm just going to call it ostrich skin, stamped out and heat embossed. Then I use my sprinkle scallop rectangle die to trim that down so it's nice and clean, and everything is going to be in focus. Everything's going to be neat and lined up. And then I used my scallop circle dies to cut out the scallop. I only wanted the scallop, but I also used my Pearson stitched circle dies so that I could get the hole that will fit right around that scallop die. So with the scallop die, I also ran it through my embossing folder. It is the Daisey's embossing folder, because even though the scallop has some piercing and stitching, if you will, the faux stitching, I wanted the daisies on there just to be kind of subtle, because she's just sweet and dainty, and the daisies are sweet and dainty. So in my mind, they went together. Now this chicken wire stamp is just called the wire background. Doesn't have anything to do with ostriches. I just thought it was fun, and tone on tone, it was going to be very subtle. And I think it works. So I stamped it again in Versamark. You saw that I stamped it out in a little bit different way. Instead of using my Misty, I just put it flat down on my work surface, inked it up, and then I took the paper to the stamp. That is my preferred way of stamping with a background stamp, though I know a lot of people use their Misties, and so that's why I went with the Misty for the first one. But typically, if I'm just in my craft room by myself stamping and I'm using a big background stamp or just a big stamp of any sort, I usually will do it just like you saw. Now, my camera ran out of space, so I lost a little bit of footage there, but I'm about to color her up, and you see that my ink isn't quite dry. I'm getting some smudges there, so I hit it with the heat tool. But going back to what I did to finish up that background, so I put a little bit of foam tape across the back side of the ostrich panel, and then I mounted it up on the wire background. Now what you did not see is that I did ink blending on all three elements to that background. I did ink blending in vintage photo around the edges of the ostrich panel, as well as the edges of the scalloped circle there, and of course on the background of the wire. But I left just a plain white space in the middle of the wire panel, because that makes it look like a halo or a bright spot behind whatever your image is. And basically, in doing all of that with the die cutting and the layering, that's creating a focal point, and that's why I'm going to put my ostrich in that space. But I'm doing all of that with the backgrounds to support my beautiful little ostrich. And she is gorgeous, and I just love her. So we'll get back to the card. I also did a little bit of splattering with the vintage photo, and then on the inside I used the Sprinkle Scallop rectangle die, and I cut out another panel of that cream cardstock, and I did some ink blending around those edges and did some splatter on that too to coordinate with the front. So I think that is everything to do with the card base itself and those beautiful backgrounds. And so again, I hit my sweet little image with my heat tool. It has been sitting there, I don't even know, at least 30 minutes, maybe longer. And I really thought that ink would be dry, but it was not. And as I tipped it in the light, I could definitely see that there were still quite a few spots that were very, very wet. So I'm glad I hit it with the heat tool, and I'm able to resolve some of those smudges as I continue to color this sweet, sweet image with my OLOs. Now I do have a blurb with my OLO here in a minute, and if you know what I mean by blurb, it's like a splotch. The ink comes gushing out. I pull out a darker pink. Yep, this is it. And when I get to that left foot, it bloops right out. And see, and it actually, when I flicked the pen in my fingers, ink went flying. It was on my hand, it's on my desk, so I had to go back and kind of clean that up as well. That is the only problem I have with my OLOs. Otherwise, I think they're fantastic, and I'm very, very happy with my OLOs in terms of coloring. Tell me what your favorite coloring medium is. Do you have OLOs? Do you have other form of alcohol ink markers? Do you have the Copics? What do you have? What's your preference? I know a lot of people like to use watercolor. We like to paint with our distress reinkers and things like that. We like to use water brush pens, or, oh my gosh, colored pencils, watercolor pencils. There's so many different mediums out there that you can add color and life to an image. What is your preference? I think my preference right now in this stage of life that I'm at is my OLOs. I do use other things as well, but yeah, there we have it. So something that I want to say about my little ostrich and this Cheers die that I have cut out. You'll notice that they are both on white. In fact, it's Bristol Smooth, and the rest of the panel, the lighter colors, are a cream. Now, that did not even hit me when I was putting this card together. It wasn't until I was doing the video that I realized, oh my goodness. Now, if that bothers you, you can go back and hit those with your blending brush. Just use whatever ink is still in your brush, because there's enough residual ink that will take that color back, take that white color, and kind of knock back that vibrance, I guess, because you're not knocking back color, but you're knocking back the vibrance. So you could definitely do that around the ostrich as well as on the top part of the Cheers, and then you would have that cream color back, or at least a more distressed antiqued look. So there I used some embellishments from this Calls for Confetti to bring it all together. Now you'll notice that those are in a clear as well. That was the inside of the card, and I am done. And that little subtle martini in her hand, that's what, of course, brought the Cheers die set on there, and I think it's just adorable. And you can use this card for any purpose. Cheers, we can cheers to Tuesday afternoon. We can cheers to your wedding. We can cheers to your retirement or your promotion or whatever it might be. Cheers is a perfect sentiment for so many different occasions. So guys, this is my card today. Let me know your thoughts. Again, let me know your favorite coloring medium downstairs. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you are not already subscribed, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. I'd love to have you back. We have all kinds of fun things coming up. Halloween, decorate with me. We're going to be doing hashtag snowmen in summer. So you definitely want to come on back. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave me a comment downstairs, hit the thumbs up, all the good YouTube things, and I'll see you next time. Mwah, I'm out.